Anniversary of Decoy's ex-wife, and they were going to go to a celebration in her honor. The kids were a little scared to be left alone for the first time. Their siblings were left alone in the house. They were watching TV when all of a sudden, a chill shot up my mom's spine. The TV went white and the power in the house went out.
Bine, puiul, dar eu acum puteam să te sun. Ia răspunde, hai, încercăm din nou.
Violently. Nothing else in the house was rattling, and there were no windows open and no wind blowing. It looked like someone was trying to get out. It's Decoy's ex-wife! They screamed and ran out of the house, right when their parents were pulling into the driveway. The kids were crying and trying to tell them what happened. Decoy's granddaughter tried to calm them down and went inside the house to get her dog. She didn't come back out for a few minutes, but when she did, she was in tears. I just saw my grandmother. If it was truly Decoy's ex-wife in that house that night, what did she want? What was she trying to say? This is a true story from a friend of mine who spent 3 months
Puiul meu, am încercat, nu merge. O să vorbim când ajung acasă, da?
in a haunted house. When Lauren was 4 years old, her dad got a new job in West Virginia. They couldn't find a place fast, and so they were
Bravo, puiul meu, așa trebuie. Să înțelegi că dacă nu se poate, nu se poate. Nu merge. Dar când ajung acasă, ne vedem și vorbim, da?
excited to find one that was incredibly cheap. They pulled up to a large house made of old dark wood on Kenwood Place. I'm in history, so even taken aback by how. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary? Our next story comes from Jeannie, whose daughter has a very interesting friend. Jeannie and her daughter, Azura, used to live in Brazil with the rest of their extended family. Azura was a bright little girl who was always happy and energetic and had no trouble making friends. But when she turned 7, something changed. She was no longer interested in playing with her friends and became cold and distant to everyone, including her mother. Azura would curl up in her bedroom alone, and Jeannie would overhear her talking to herself for hours. Jeannie thought Azura might be going through a phase and invented an imaginary friend for herself. But Azura's grandmother thought otherwise. That's because one night, Azura's grandmother walked by the bedroom where Azura was talking to herself. She stopped in the doorway and looked into the room and screamed. Azura turned and hissed at her grandma like a rabid animal and crouched on all fours, growling deeply. Her grandmother ran out of the room and locked the door from the outside. Jeannie, you have to call the priest now. There is a demon in this house. Jeannie is not a religious woman. She thought her mother was being a little dramatic, but nevertheless, she called a priest to come over to the house. He arrived the next morning, and the grandmother explained what she saw. There was a demon with big bat wings and cloven hooves. Its skin was dark and scaly, and its hands had giant talons. Jeannie just snickered at this description. The grandmother unlocked the door, and there was Azura, crying hysterically. Don't go! Don't go, please don't go! No, please don't go! Don't go! Don't go! Don't go! Please don't go! The moment he saw this, the priest dropped his Bible and rosary and closed the door. That's no demon. That's a mancha chico. A what? It is a creature that is born from a demon and cursed without love. They seek out mortals to love them and attach themselves to those who show them kindness. Jeannie laughed. This was absolutely ridiculous. When they fall in love with a human, they truly care for them and keep them safe, but for a price. In return for their devotion, the Mancha Chico will gain possession of the human soul in the afterlife. We have to save her. The priest re-entered the bedroom and said a prayer. When he came out of the room, Jeannie saw Azura sleeping peacefully in her bed. A few days later, Jeannie was about to run some errands, and Azura stopped her. Don't leave. But sweetie, I need to buy us some. Please. Jeannie was a little freaked out by how since about to run some errands, and Azura stopped her. Don't leave. But sweetie, I need to buy us some. Please. Jeannie was a little freaked out by how sincere her daughter was, so she stayed home. Later that day, when they were watching the news, they learned that there was an active shooter at the nearby mall, the mall that Jeannie was going to go to. Why did you make me stay home? Cheliso told me to tell you. He doesn't want me to be sad, so he will help me keep you safe. There were multiple instances like this when Azura would tell her mother to avoid a certain area, only to later discover that it could have saved her lives. Azura was hit by a car on the sidewalk and flown into a gutter, but walked away without a scratch. Azura's little sister was diagnosed with a terrible skin disease, only her demon. Years had gone by, decided to talk to her daughter. You know, when I was your age.
Ominous unknown killer still at large. Who's that killer everyone speaks of? Ted Bundy? Now you're kidding.
Papuiul meu, eu plecam puțină treabă. Vorbim mâine. Pa, pa. Noapte bună.
This is how I became the world's most ugliest and infamous legend in all of meme history. Christ, is that even a good thing? It's Jeff the Killer, home dogs. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this piece of... Anyway, my origin story doesn't start with me. Just some little runt who bravely tells the public how he survived old Jeffrey Woods. Well, for your information, bub, it's Jeff the Killer, not Jeff Woods, not Jeff Keaton, not Jeffrey, Jeffy Weffy, or Jeff Chan. Get the facts straight, all right? I'm getting a little off topic here, aren't I? Me and my deadbeat family were moving into a fancy new neighborhood. Honestly, this neighborhood's a curse.
Not saving the world. You're just getting it ready for me.
Hey guys, this is Creep. Ask us some questions and we're gonna have to answer them with these boards.
First question. Have you ever eaten food from the floor?
I have never. You have? Oh my god! Mom says it's clean, so the floor is clean. Oh yeah! Oops, I dropped my apple. Mom, is the floor clean? Yeah, I just cleaned it. Okay.
Next question. Have you ever spied on your parents?
I have. It was just like a game.